we got our bottom and our ice cream. Hey, what's going on? It's Aaron from AMFIT Coaching, and welcome to episode 1 of Cooking with Aaron. So I'm thinking of doing this series probably about once a month or maybe once every 2 weeks. That way I can give you some insight into new healthy recipes that you can make at home very easily as well. I'm going to be starting another series as well. It's called Ask a Trainer. So in the Facebook group that I run, I'll put a link in the description below. I always do a Q&A every single week, but I think it might be nice to have one on YouTube so that way it's a little bit separate. And if you have any questions, you can always leave a comment on a video and then I can bring it up in that Q&A. So I'm going to start that either this week or next week and probably do that every 2 weeks as well. So in this episode, we are making a healthy ice cream sandwich bar kind of thing, and it's a healthy alternative to going to the store and getting some ice cream or like a ice cream bar or ice cream sandwich or anything like that. So this is higher in protein, a little healthier, a lot more nutritious, less sugar than some of those options. So to make this, all you need is some Greek yogurt, whey protein. This is going to be the base of everything, these two things right here. Now specifically, I have the 3% less sugar one. I will have the macros in the description for everything below, as well as at the end with the final product. So depending on the whey protein you have and the exact Greek yogurt that you choose, your macros may be slightly different. So these are the base. These are what are going to make the actual like ice cream part of our ice cream sandwich. Now the next few options are kind of up to you. So what I'm doing today is I have 2 Quest bars and I'm going to use them to line the bottom of our container so that way the bar itself is a little less messy. You can do it without these if you like and just have like an ice cream tray kind of thing, but these will make it a little more easier to eat. It is a little more expensive going with the 2 Quest bar route, but ultimately it's going to be a lot better than eating like some ice cream from the store. And then you do get to choose some toppings. In this, you can either choose, or what I've chosen today is I've got some chocolate chips, give you some chocolate in there. I have some sweetened shredded coconut. You can get unsweetened or flakes, whatever, up to you. This gives it a little more texture. And then I have Goji Berries. So these are high in potassium, lots of vitamin A, some really good fiber. These are my choice. You can choose like pomegranates, blueberries, whatever fruit that you would like. So these are kind of up to you. You can kind of customize it to your liking. So step 1 of making these, we need to portion out our Greek yogurt and our whey protein. So let's make sure you have a mixing bowl, some sort of spoon. And for our Greek yogurt, ultimately I will have all the ingredients and everything in the description, but if you want, you can always double this recipe. So this makes about 1 container, which portioned out will be about 4 to 6 days worth of bars. So you can easily double this if you want. You'll just have to double all the ingredients. For Greek yogurt, all we need is 1 cup of Greek yogurt, or roughly 230 grams if you want to weigh it out. So we've got to portion out 1 cup of this. This is a 1/2 cup. My 1 cup wasn't clean, so I'm using my 1/2 cup. So I'm going to get 2 scoops of this. You don't have to be 100% accurate with this. You can be a little loose if you want. If you have a little more, a little less, that's going to be fine. So that's roughly 1/2 cup there. So this is kind of our base. That's going to be the bulk of our ice cream. So we got that portioned out, good enough. So the next thing we need to do is add our whey protein to this. So for this, we need only 1 scoop of whey protein. If you're doubling this, it would be 2 scoops. So this is one of the things that's going to make your macros differ from mine a little bit. 1 scoop of this has about 30 grams of protein. So some have 20, some have 25. So there will be a bit of variety when you make your own, but overall it will be close to the same. I'd recommend using vanilla because it mixes basically with any flavor that you choose. If you want to use another flavor, feel free and go for it. Just make sure that you actually like the flavor. My favorite's vanilla because it really goes with anything. So after we put that in the bowl, now we need to mix it. So for this, you really have to kind of fold it in first. You'll see it's kind of powdery here. Let's move this knife out of the way. So this, be a little extra careful. It can be a little messy. It may not seem like at first that it's going to mix together well, but just have some faith and give it a good mix. Also, while you're there watching me mix this, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button down below and click the thumbs up. If you're enjoying this and want to see more of these recipes and more fitness content. So there we go. After about 30 seconds, about a minute of mixing, you can see we're nice and creamy now. So you could always eat this on its own if you'd like. Usually my breakfast is Greek yogurt and whey protein. So once you've got this mixed, we're going to add half of each of our topping. We're gonna add half of our chocolate chips, half of the coconut, and half of the goji berries. We're adding half, so half's in our mixture. And then when we put it on the tray, we're gonna sprinkle the last half on top, so that way you get a little more in each bite. So in total, we need 1/4 cup of goji berries. You can use pomegranates, blueberries, whatever you like. I like these because there's a lot of vitamin A, fiber, and potassium. In total, we're going to need 2 tablespoons of chocolate chips and 1 tablespoon of coconut. So we're gonna have divvy out half. So we're gonna portion out our goji berries. So we're gonna get 1/4 cup of our goji berries. Don't worry about the specific brand. They're all the same thing. I think this was $7. There was another bag that said organic as well that was $10, but they were the exact same thing. So if you've never had these before, this is what they look like. They're kind of like look almost like a red raisin. They're a little chewy. They taste almost like as if you were eating like a berry tea, if I were to describe it. So that's the total amount of goji berries we're using. We'll put that to the side, and then we'll portion out our chocolate chips and coconut as we go. So now we need to put half of our ingredients into our Greek yogurt mixture, whey protein mixture, and mix them in. So we're gonna mix about half of our goji berries in there, half our chocolate chips, half our coconuts. Okay, so let's mix about half in there. I would say that's roughly half. We'll add a couple more. There we go. So we've got about half. So now we're going to add 1 tablespoon of our chocolate chips. Now with the chocolate chips, you can use whatever ones you would like. I just chose these ones. So we've got 1 tablespoon chocolate chips. And then we're going to scoop roughly 1/2 tablespoon of coconut. I'll say that's roughly half. Okay, so now that those are in there, we're gonna mix this together. At some point you should have something that kind of looks like this. Now we're getting to the fun part. We get to start putting everything in our container. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cut each of these in half, kind of widthways here, and then I'm going to line the bottom so that way I have a bit of a base layer. But before you do this, you're gonna have to seal the bottom. I'm just using some press and seal. I have used parchment paper. It works okay, but I find because the whey protein and the Greek yogurt can be a little sticky, parchment paper does tend to rip off and stick to the actual frozen Greek yogurt. So if you want to avoid that, plastic might be a little better. So all we have to do now, cut these up and line the bottom. Now let's cut up our Quest bars. So I've got two different ones. I got a double chocolate one here and chocolate chip cookie dough. This, so I have a little bit of variety. These are a nice addition because they have lots of fiber and lots of protein. So just with one of these ice cream squares that you make, there's going to be actually a lot more fiber and protein that you would ever get in a regular ice cream. So next we need to cut these. So we've got an oversized knife and we're cutting them down the middle here so that way we can take up more surface area. So let's hope I don't cut myself doing this. Okay, perfect. So now we've got, this one's a little broken here. So now we've got two essentially. Okay, so now those are cut up and they fit pretty nicely here. It's not going to be perfect and that's okay. Now all we have to do is pour our Greek yogurt on top and then sprinkle our toppings on the top. Okay, so I've poured all of our Greek yogurt mixture onto our tray. Now all we need to do is sprinkle the rest of our toppings in this and then it's going to be going in the freezer. So we're gonna have our goji berries. Since the bars didn't cover the whole thing, I tried to have it mainly over all of it. It will spill over a little bit, but that way it's a little thicker where I want it. So now I need 1 tablespoon of chocolate chips. Let's get those, okay. And then about half a tablespoon, I'll probably do a full tablespoon, roughly, of our shredded coconut. Okay, perfect. So the final product's gonna be something like this. Now all we have to do is place this in the freezer. So we're putting this in the freezer. It's going to go in there for about 3 to 4 hours. Now it's going to depend, depending on how many things you have in your freezer, or how cold your freezer is. So check it after 3 hours, see how it is. You're going to want to check the middle of it. So in here, you're gonna wanna check the middle. It's going to freeze last. So you can always poke on that a little bit and see if it's frozen. So we're gonna check back in about 3 to 4 hours, see if it's done, and then cut it up. Welcome back. It's been about 2 hours and 40 minutes, and now we are nice and frozen. So it's a tiny bit soft in the middle. I recommend leaving it for 3 hours. You will want to cut everything up after 3 hours, then store it in a container, just so if it gets too frozen and you leave it over there a whole night, I know from experience, it gets a little hard to cut and it can get a little messy. So I'm gonna take this out of the plastic and cut it into squares of 6. Now the macros for this whole container are, we have 1,094 calories for this whole thing, 97 grams of protein, 37 grams of fat, and 122 grams of carbs. So in this whole container, we can probably get about 6 squares total. And then the macros for each square is 16 grams of protein, 6 grams of fat, and 20 grams of carbs. So for one square to have that much protein and those kind of macros is very, very good. And then in terms of calories for one square, it's only 182 calories. So you're getting a lot just for a small square, and it's gonna help fix some ice cream craving. So let's cut this up and see how it tastes. We're going to take this out of the plastic first. Almost like breaking an ice cube tray. This is why we use plastic. I'm gonna put this in the container right after. This is why we use plastic and not parchment paper. A lot easier to get off. Now let's cut this into some squares. We'll have to do this quick because this can get a little melty. So using our knife, we're gonna cut this in half first. So I'd recommend leaving these for 3 hours. This is going to be a little messy, but this is basically what we have. We got our bottom and our ice cream. So I've got all of them in here. So these are going to go in the freezer, and then I'm going to eat this one. So let's do a taste test, see how it is. And it's pretty good. So on this one I have a bit of a mixture of the fudge bar. All the squares are a bit slightly different sizes, but there is 6. The macros are below for each one, and you can see each one is fairly thick as well, probably about an inch. So just one of these is going to be a lot. It's probably going to be a fairly hefty snack, but it's very low in calories, high in protein, a lot of vitamins that your body needs, and also high in fiber. So this is actually going to help fill you up a little bit as well. So I'm hoping you enjoyed this video and this recipe. Feel free to give it a try. I will have everything written down below in the description, so that way you can write it out yourself. I'll also have the macros there. So if you want to see more of this series, see more of these desserts. It's a little melty right now. I need to let it freeze a little longer. It turned out very, very good. This is a great alternative to going to the store and getting ice cream. So it does cost a little more just to get all of these ingredients, but ultimately health-wise, it's going to benefit you a lot more, and you're not actually going to feel bad about binging some of these. Even if you eat like half a tray, you're still going to get a good like 40 grams protein, probably 20 grams of fiber, maybe only 40 carbs, and it's going to help you fill it up, and it'll basically be like half a meal. So if you want to keep seeing this series and other content as well, hit the subscribe button down below. Let me know in the comments if you'd want to see any other recipes, and I can feature them, use your ideas on which ones you want to see. So as always, give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.